Animated movies are really important. People tend to write them off as just for kids, but a good animated movie is just as good as a good live action movie. And it's important to keep making good animated movies because they definitely deserve a spot in the film industry. And one of the biggest reasons for that is that you can do things with animation that you can't do with live action, creating worlds that just wouldn't work in live action. A lot of Pixar movies like WALL-E, Cars, or Toy Story would just not work at all if they were live action. And we kind of saw that a little bit with the Disney live action remakes of The Lion King and other movies, that there's just something in an animated world that can capture more energy that does not work in live action. Now, while The Lion King was still technically animated, it was trying to be live action and it just did not work. That's a world that can only really work in a world of animation. It didn't help that the movie was just a soulless corporate attempt to get money based on people's nostalgia, but really, it just does not work in live action. And the same can be said about pretty much any animated movie. There are things in animation that you just cannot recreate in live action. And there are things that you might want to create in a story that can't be made in live action or wouldn't be as good in live action. And that's why animation deserves to have its place in the film industry. And unfortunately, I feel like recently, animated movies and a lot of children's entertainment in general has had a shift that is towards just entertain the kids in cheap ways instead of tell a good story that anybody can enjoy that is catered towards kids. I think that's what most good animated movies are, is they're a story for kids that is also just a good story and a good movie in general. If you think about Pixar in the mid to late 2000s, they made some of the best animated movies of all time. I think they're on par with a lot of really good live action movies. If you're talking about Cars, WALL-E, Up, any movie like that, The Incredibles. And other people have studied this more. I haven't studied it that much, but really since the Minions was the trendsetter of just realizing how much money you can make off just cheap children's entertainment that has nothing really else to it. So there is a distinction. There are bad animated movies that are still enjoyable by kids. I don't want that to be the only thing. I want there to still be good animated movies coming out. I think a lot of people my age and older just don't tend to watch animated movies because they're made for kids. But really, when I go back and watch my favorite childhood movies, they're still enjoyable. They still just hold up as good storytelling today. I feel like there's less and less just good quality animated movies and more just cheap, easy to consume for kids animated movies. And that's not a trend I like to see. If you think about movies like Rango, created such a unique experience and world and story that I think holds up very well, is a very enjoyable movie, is a very well crafted movie, is a very well animated movie. It's just a very good movie in general. And while it's under the mask of being a movie made for kids, I don't think Rango is truly made for kids. And the thing is, even if it was, there are a lot of animated movies that were made for kids that I still really like today, being like Kung Fu Panda or Cars. Those are movies that I liked as a kid and I still really like now, and I still really appreciate the storytelling of them now. And I will admit, with Cars, I'm a little bit biased because that's probably one of the movies I watched more than anything else when I was a kid. But there are a lot of animated movies that I still enjoy today. I think we can't forget the importance of animation and how it can do things that live action can't, and we can't let animation die to just cheap, childish, profitable movies that have very little passion put into them but make a lot of money. And I think that's been the recent trend of animated movies, and it's unfortunate. But what do you guys think? What are some of your favorite animated movies? Let me know in the comments, and I'm out.